Hello, it's Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Yes, I'm talking about this mayor again because she keeps doing things that make me want to talk about her. I don't know how for real she is. I don't know how serious she is about the job she's doing, and I don't know what her political aspirations are. But she is a little different than what we've seen in a minority woman in politics. So today, I want to thank Carolyn Forge for sending me the link to the video that showed her apologizing to two black men, Alan Swanson and William Bennett, for something that happened to their families in 1989. This man on the screen is named Charles Stewart. In October of 1989, he did the unthinkable to his wife and unborn child. This is him and his wife Carol on their wedding day. He committed this crime on October 23, 1989, and said that a black man had carjacked their car in Boston and used a weapon to end her life. His statement to the police set off a months-long manhunt by the Boston Police Department for a black assailant that lasted until Charles Stewart's brother Matthew confessed that his brother had committed that crime to collect his wife's life insurance payout. Then Charles Stewart, being a coward, turned on himself. Now that was a tragedy, but it appears just from that reading that it was pretty cut and dried. But it was not. Charles Stewart had named a black man, and this was when they were talking about reinstating the death penalty, and Boston got all ramped up and they had it all over worldwide news, this horrible thing that had happened to this white woman in Boston. And so now the hunt was on for this black assailant. This is before the brother confessed. During the manhunt, the city's police indiscriminately used controversial stop and frisk tactics on young black men, which heightened racial tensions. Suffolk County Attorney Newman Flanagan called for reinstating the death penalty, which had been abolished in Massachusetts in 1984, a proposal that received support in the state legislature. Because remember now, he has fingered this black man, and now they are out for blood. What they say is that if you lived in Boston, if you had a husband, a son, a brother, an uncle, or granddaddy, or anybody, you feared for that person's life, because they were doing a Gestapo type manhunt, and they were going to get somebody, and they got somebody. In late October, the Boston police arrested Alan Swanson, a black man who matched Stewart's description. Officers found newspaper clippings about the crime in Swanson's bathroom, but they concluded he had been too intoxicated to have committed the crime, but still gonna harass the man. Had no evidence other than he had clippings of the newspaper. Everybody was reading about that. We were hearing about it down here in the South. But they gonna arrest him. And they didn't stop there. In mid-November, the police arrested Willie Bennett based on a tip. Their suspicions increased after finding that a bullet in his mother's home matched the caliber of the weapon that was used. 2 days later, on November 13th, Bennett was charged with the robbery of a video store several weeks earlier. Stewart, who was released from the hospital on December 5th, identified Bennett as his attacker in a police lineup. So he just carried that lie all the way to the police lineup. Now this was about to be a situation where a black man was going to do some serious time for a crime that he did not commit. But this Charles Stewart's brother, Matthew, had a conscience. And on January the 3rd, 1990, he went to the police station and told what he knew. His brother had been planning all kinds of scams to get that insurance policy, to get this woman eliminated so he could get that insurance money. Now, I read that this brother knew what he was planning and helped him cover it up initially. But apparently, his conscience got the best of him, or people started talking. Something happened, and he came and told it. But these black men were hunted, and their families were terrified of what would happen to them. This happened 34 years ago. Those men have lived with the shame of that and the humiliation of being accused of something that they had nothing to do with for 34 years. And the city of Boston has not said anything to them about it or compensated them in any way. And we all know that if that brother hadn't come forward and told what his brother had done, one of those men, if not both of them, would have ended up in prison. They would have ended up in prison. And this shows just how vulnerable black people can be to a white person's lie. They did not believe that man would have done that to his wife. And it appears that they didn't do any real police work investigating the crime scene, taking the fingerprints, and tracing the steps of that couple. What I think any basic police work would include, they didn't do any of that. They just took that man's word for it. Now, to cover up for the incompetence and the prejudice of the Boston Police Department, they are saying now that some of the police officers suspected that it was him, but they didn't have the final say. Their superiors believed what Charles Stewart had said, and they're the ones that oversaw that manhunt, that stop and frisk manhunt, where you stop and frisk any black man that you want to. So they're trying to make it seem like some of them really had some decency about them, but that's not worth anything to people who had to suffer through that. The people in charge decided that a black person had done that because they wanted a black person to have done it and not this clean-cut white man. So what does all of this have to do with Michelle Wu? This is from CNN. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu issued an apology Wednesday to the families of Alan Swanson and Willie Bennett, two black men wrongfully arrested in connection with the 1989 crime of Carol Stewart. "I am so sorry for what you endured," Wu said at a news conference. "As a result, our black residents suffered. As a result, Alan Swanson suffered, Willie Bennett suffered, and their families continue to suffer. What was done to you was unfair, unjust, racist, and wrong." And she's absolutely right about that. I think there's a documentary coming out about that crime, and Boston's police chief now is Black American. And he said that they had beat him to within an inch of his life. So they have a bad reputation up there in Boston. A bad reputation. It's unclear what Michelle Wu's ultimate aspirations and goals are for Boston and for herself, but I can still say that this is a good look for her. Because after 34 years, somebody should apologize to those families. And it's my suggestion that we give her a standing ovation and encourage all Black Bostonians to support her once the checks clear. Because they should receive some kind of monetary compensation for what they've had to go through. Thanks again to the subscriber who sent this story to me. And y'all let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.